Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September the 10th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Work went well, no complaints. Let's see here. Food corner. Food corner was I decided to do a little bit of fusion, mix it up a bit. My Mexican beef and rice bowl, but minus the rice. Make it a nacho bowl. So just beef and nachos. And then I had a bowl of ramen. So that was good. It was like the spicy ramen. So I ate that with some tortillas. Overall, it came together. Definitely felt, I don't know what's the word I want to use, mechanically different. It just felt weird in a textile sense. But it was still good. I definitely will say though, I know that I don't like the idea of fusion food, even though I eat a bunch of mashed up stuff, like how I like to say Scran style or whatever. But I know that's a hodgepodge of things. That's something I like to eat personally myself. I wouldn't make a restaurant and say, hey, come eat the food, come eat the piles of food that I put into a bowl. I wouldn't do that to y'all. I wouldn't put myself through that. But the idea of fusion sounds cool, and the restaurants always look cool, love the layout and stuff. And maybe sometimes they might have a cool little hit signature. I feel like sometimes it's often some little app or something like that usually winds up being a really cool, nice thing to eat. But any of the big stuff, the fucking sushi burritos or whatever, that never hit to me. But anyway, back to my meal, back to my monstrosity. I was trying to put noodles into a tortilla and then put I will say something I did do. I'll get to that next. But then I would put a little bit of beef and, my refried bean action, all the kind of stuff I got going on. I got some lettuce, but it just was wet. I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. But I did get a flash of genius, I dare say. But I remember Ron from Kim Possible had that nacho, y'all know what I'm talking about, the nacho taco thing. And I was like, gosh golly, Isaiah, I think we could kind of do that right here, right now. And I did that on the fly, and I was like, yes, this is so good. It was all crunchy, and you had the nachos from the bottom that had been sitting there for the whole time, so they were a nice kind of gushy consistency. I don't want to say gushy consistency, but they were saturated. That's not the word, but we're gonna run with that word. I'm glad you guys can't see me disclosing the air. I'm glad it's not a visual podcast. But yeah, no, it was a fun, interesting food corner. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was yummo. Let's see. Work was work. I don't know if I already said that or not. I feel like I just went right into the food. Nothing too wild, nothing too crazy. We got through it. It was one of those days where we filled up the crusher. So there was that. But, it didn't feel too wild. All right, let's go ahead and do the startup, and we'll go ahead and get into it. Ooh, also something, just a bit of an aside, a bit of gym talk here. I'm finding it interesting to be so I want to do, hypothetically, I'm trying to get in an hour and a half every day, at least, at the gym. So far, it's been going good. Let's knock on wood, it keeps going. But I've definitely noticed that, this is killer on the schedule, man. I was already devoting time to this podcast, and I'm doing the walks, and I'm doing the at-home workout. The at-home workout's a 15-minute thing unless I lollygag. But it's oh man, definitely realizing that I hate whenever you have that cliche-ass thought man, I wish there was just more hours in the day. And it's no, dude, because then you would just get getting milked for more work. That's how that would wind up happening. But it just sucks that there's just never enough time to do the things that you want and need to do. Like, I don't know. I'm finding myself at that impasse, but I guess I don't mind because I live alone. I'm single, and I often just have this like nagging thought in my head of like, Isaiah, you don't have anything better to do. You're just going to be sitting at home on the game. So yeah, get your ass out there and be active. Do the stuff that you're trying to do. Make these goals happen. So that's where I find myself right now. So yeah. Maybe you're noticing if you're like a listener who comes like right away, which that'd be so dope. If you exist out there, thank you, love you. But coming in a little bit later. But thanks for bearing with me. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into some news. I'm ready. From the Associated Press. An Israeli strike on a Palestinian tent camp kills at least 19. An Israeli strike hit a crowded Palestinian tent camp early Tuesday in Gaza, killing at least 19 people and wounding 60, Palestinian officials said. Israel said it targeted senior Hamas militants with precise ammunition. I always hate when they start fucking throwing that word precise as if like, oh, okay, because we use this precise ammunition, you guys should be thankful that like this could have been so much worse. Like we could have used like a dirty bomb or something. Like, no, dude, like it doesn't matter. You're still killing a bunch of people. More times than not, you start looking into it. These are civilians. These are women. These are children. They have nothing to do with it. And it's like, oh, well, damn, Hamas using, civilians as shields. This is so fucked up. It's like you guys are the ones pulling the trigger here on this shit. But, okay, let's continue. The strike occurred in Mawasi, a sprawl of camps along the coast that Israel designated as a humanitarian zone for hundreds of thousands of displaced civilians to seek shelter from the early, near year-old Israel-Hamas war. It's crazy that we are almost a year at this shit, and there's still nowhere safe. People are still forced to move from place to place to place to place just to die along the way, just to lose family along the way. And it just keeps happening and happening and happening, dude. With no real end in sight. They keep dangling this idea of a ceasefire, but now it just feels like almost like anime filler that these articles are mentioning now. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, in case you missed it, here's all the other atrocities that are going on. And then there's this whole like ceasefire that's like kind of like nebulous and not being figured out at fucking all. But like, now you're caught up. There you go. There's your news. And it just feels so fucking terrible to read day in and day out. And I know it sucks. I also then have to come and talk about it day in and day out. And, I try to do my best to kind of bracket it up a little bit, try to give us, some peace where there is some peace. And it's not really any peace, obviously, for these people. So I feel bad even trying to say it like that. But like, for the sake of, I don't even say levity, but just spacing, I guess I can just say. But, we just keep coming back to this, and it keeps happening where people are like, yeah, I lost a family member, nothing to do with it. They were a 4-year-old, they're a child. Like, I was out on a run getting diaper. Like, what can I do? What should we do? What's next? It's to that point where there's just no hope for these people, and that's so fucking heartbreaking. Let's see. Associated Press videos showed 3 large craters. First responders dug with garden tools and bare hands using mobile phone flashlights until the sun came up. They pulled body parts from the sand, including what appeared to be a human leg. We were told to go to Mawasi, to the safe area. Look around you and see this safe place, said Iliad Hamid Mahdi, who had been sheltering there. Now, apparently there's been like some kind of discrepancy with the number in terms of like the death toll. This has happened before where Israel goes, oh, well, they say we killed this much. Well, that's a Hamas number. We killed actually this much, we think. And it's like a number that's maybe like, I don't know, 10 to 20 people less. But I'm like, dog, is that something to brag about? Especially when we're talking about this shit once again on a day-to-day fucking basis. You are killing innocent people day in and day out. And you're like, they're just blowing up these numbers. They're just trying to get it. Like, you are killing people every day. It's just a fucking fact. I don't understand why you're trying to mince that. It's a crazy tactic by Zionists, but hey, I guess it's worked in the past, and they keep trying this fucking routine over and over again. But yeah, dude, it's fucking sickening, dude. And I know, did I say 4 years? I meant 4 months old. Sorry. Just kind of referencing from a quote from this article. But to be honest, I really do want to move on. I know I hit this shit a lot, and I do try to get to a point where I'm trying to summarize it and kind of move on faster, but it's hard not to get worked up about this shit. Like I don't want to be just someone who winds up rattling the shit off to you and then we just move on and move along. Like, I hear that shit out of the BBC and kudos to them. Like, you know what I mean? At least to the extent of like being professional about this shit. But like, part of why I want to do this is because it's like, look, y'all know I just mash trash for a living. I'm just a fucking dude, okay? Like, but this is how I feel about this shit. I'm not trying to compel anyone to feel any way. I mean, at least I'm really trying not to, but like, it's just wild, This is day in and day out, and there are people who are at the top of the shit that are A-okay with it. Like, this is just business as usual for us. I'm just trying to stay in power so I don't like go to jail or something stupid. Anyway, let's move along. From Reuters. Dozens dead after Typhoon Yagi hammers Vietnam, causing floods, landslides. Typhoon Yagi, Asia's most powerful storm this year, left dozens dead in northern Vietnam and widespread damage to infrastructure and factories as it churned westwards, preliminary government estimates showed on Monday. 49 people have died and 22 are missing, mostly because of landslides and floods triggered by the typhoon, the Vietnamese government said. The typhoon made landfall on Saturday on Vietnam's northeastern coast, home to large manufacturing operations of domestic and foreign companies. It was downgraded to a tropical storm or tropical depression on Sunday, but the meteorological, and I know that's not how you say it, and I'm dumb, but who cares? Meteorological agency warned on Monday of further floods and landslides. Like I said, I'm just a guy. Yagi cut power to millions of households and companies, flooded highways, disrupted telecommunications networks, downed a medium-sized bridge and thousands of trees, and brought economic activity in many industrial hubs to a halt. Also, I know that I think, what is it, tropical storm, or it might be Hurricane Francine. I haven't been keeping too much track of it, but I haven't heard too much about it. I was actually talking to a coworker who's like talking about his daughter, who's like, doing college, and she's in Florida, and like kind of just talking about like how, she was trying to calm him down, and like her roommates and friends were like, oh yeah, it's not going to be so bad. Yeah, we're going to ride it out, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. But, he's a dad. Like he's going to be nervous and worried about that, which I'm like, I totally fucking get. But I was kind of telling him, it's like, you're kind of, especially if you're a person who's been around here for a while, or just, you're just looking at your wallet. Like, what can you really do in these kind of situations? Can you really afford to, like, take a bunch of time off, take a few days off and, go more inland and, yeah, you're safer? Like, this is a problem that a lot of people wind up having. And, like, yeah, like, I think a lot of times when you hear it on the news, I remember even myself, like, hearing this kind of stuff in, like, a teenager, you almost think it's, like, hubris. Like, oh, yeah, they're just trying to ride it out. Maybe, sure, sometimes it is. You see that. But, like, also, it's also, sometimes it's like, fuck it, I don't have any other option. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like, we heard it's not as bad as people maybe thought initially. We're going to try to ride it out. Just, we got our ramen, we got our stuff, we're going to be okay. And hopefully they are, once again, we're knocking on wood a lot this episode, but, hey, we got to do that. I'm a little superstitious. Not very superstitious. But, yeah, so hopefully that's going okay. I know I could have, like, fucking Googled and got on my new shit, but I wanted to kind of focus on this Yagi thing. But yeah, there's that. Let's, kind of talking about the states. Let's actually take it to Atlanta Airport from CBS News. 2 Delta planes collide on tarmac at Atlanta Airport, FAA says. Also, I like that this is direct, wording. Like, we had the word collide, not near scraping or like narrowly, blah, blah, blah. No, they said collide. So I was like, ooh. When honestly, though, you get into it, it's not as bad. But still, a collision is a collision. Officials are investigating after a Delta plane collided with an Endeavor Air flight on the tarmac at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in Georgia. Endeavor Air is a Delta subsidiary. Sorry, I gotta get this commercial out of the way. Delta Airlines Flight 295, an Airbus A350, was taxiing for departure to Tokyo, Japan, shortly after 10 a.m., the Federal Aviation Administration said, when its wingtip struck the tail of Endeavour Air Flight 5526. The Endeavour plane, a Bombardier CRJ-900 craft, was bound for Lafayette, Louisiana. The planes were on alternate taxiways when the collision happened, Delta said. There were 221 passengers aboard the Tokyo-bound flight, Delta said, and 56 people aboard the Louisiana flight. A spokesperson for Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport said there were no injuries reported. So overall, this is good. I believe everyone's flight was comped, so that's good. That's a silver lining there. Cool, awesome. But definitely, yeah, this plane took damage. Like, it's one of those things where you can't say this is like a little light fender bender. Like, literally, I'm seeing this fin, or this, like, the tail of the plane, and it's like just copped. It's just curved to the left. That's not good. And I mean curved. I mean it's just sitting at like a right angle, baby. That's not okay. Yeah, no good. That's not fit for purpose. But yeah, let's go ahead and move along. We're keeping it in like kind of residential space, but we're about to take it to outer space. Residential space? I don't know what that means. I just said that's not a thing. Anyway, we got one more thing I wanted to cover. We got to go to space though, and y'all know I love a little space story. Even if we got to talk about fucking Elon Musk, it's okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we'll get into it. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay, that was a critical hit in a good way. From the Associated Press, SpaceX launches a billionaire to conduct first private spacewalk. Now, look, I'm a shit talker. Y'all know I like talking shit about Elon Musk. But like I said, when it gets down to the nitty gritty in the space shit, when SpaceX has a successful launch, I'm kind of stoked. I'm kind of like, that's dope. Because fuck it. Yeah, capitalism sucks. Yeah, billionaires fucking sucks. Boo. Tomatoes. But space is fucking cool. And the exploration is fucking dope. And if they pull this shit off, this is going to be pretty interesting to talk about. Let alone, I'm sure for these guys to experience. But there's also... this is just razor's edge where you have like that Titan submersible situation of like, oh my God, this billionaire, what is it, Jared Isaacman, like this dude, like in their fucking spacesuits could totally not actually work when they go to do this shit, and they just fucking get torn asunder space style, and it's just fucking brutal, and that happens to them. You know what I mean? That could happen. I don't want that to happen. Okay, once again, we're gonna knock on wood, okay? I do not want that to happen. I'm not rooting for it. If the memes happen, though, if that happens, then I'm not in control of it, okay? That's just how it works. But I hope it doesn't. I actually hope that this just goes without a hitch, okay? I hope this just goes hunky fucking dory, okay? And that these guys get to walk like an Egyptian in space or whatever. I don't know. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do. They can get all funky and corny because they're billionaires. Like, this is a rich dude. There's no way they're going to fucking spacewalk or swag. It's not going to happen. No fucking way, no how. I'll bet it. I'll bet $1. Anyway. I should read a little bit before we sign the fuck off, just to say we did. A daredevil billionaire rocketed back into orbit Tuesday, aiming to perform the first private spacewalk and venture farther than anyone since NASA's Apollo moonshots. Unlike his previous chartered flight, tech entrepreneur Jared Isaacman shared the cause with SpaceX this time around, which included developing and testing brand new spacesuits to see how they'll hold up in the harsh vacuum. Now, I was kind of like stoked that I got to see them when I was like looking for a thumbnail to use, like picture for my thumbnail. Cool-ish looking, very basic, whatever. But also I'm thinking like, once again, can this withstand the rigors of space? Like, they literally won't know until they start walking, and that's kind of scary. But granted, I mean, I feel like so far SpaceX kind of has a better record than Boeing right now. They're looking better in space than Boeing is, and maybe that counts for fucking something. I don't know though. But I'll tell you what, I'll spare you the details here. We'll definitely be doing an update. I'll definitely be keeping you posted. But I mean, they're flying out, y'all. Just to give a reference, they're flying out further than the International Space Station to do the spacewalk. So just to give you a bit of reference before I let you go, I know I'm just kind of just throwing the shit out here and saying, au revoir, au revoir, right? It's au revoir. I don't know. I'm not French. Anyway, yeah, but that's where I'll leave it. I'll leave you in space, hopefully to walk and come home. Because that's another thing, too, I guess I should say. Shit, let alone, okay, do your little spacewalk. Awesome, cool. Michael Jackson moonwalk, right? I don't know. That's problematic. But then you got to come back. But once again, SpaceX has been pretty good for the whole spacefaring thing. So I'm not really, like, I guess, worried about it. But am I really worried? I don't know these people. No, I'm not. But once again, I want to see people do well. I don't want to see a Challenger situation. That would make me really kind of sad. I think it's fine to kind of be like, when it's like a thing that's not crewed, you know, or it's a launch and it's like, okay, well, yeah, it didn't work. And like they burnt the whole fucking like launch pad. What the fuck was that? You know, it's fun to kind of look at those and kind of hee hee ha ha. But, you know, I don't want to fucking do coverage with someone dying. Please don't let me have to do a Challenger coverage style situation. I don't want it. No, I just don't. That would make me bummed. Anyway, that's it. That's the episode. Let's see here. I got a shill, so bear with me. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews if you'd like to become a newsie today. With your subscription, you do get, like I said, the newsie status. I shout you out at the top of the month. Plug a project if you'd like. That's the thing. It's an option. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com if you'd like to send free feedback. Get a hold of me that way. You can find me on any of the social media websites or apps. Take your pick. I'm probably there, or the podcast is. Let's see here. Hopefully you just got to the YouTube. Really could always use a new subscriber. You know, we'd love to see you. We'd love to have you. Trying to get those numbers up and up. Leave a like, leave a comment on the episode. We appreciate that as well. I don't know who we are, but the collective royal we, maybe I'm a corporation. Maybe there's a bunch of people behind this project. Who knows? Maybe there's 1,000 eyes, 1,000, or I don't know, less faces, right? Or maybe not. Who knows? Maybe they have a lot of eyes. I'm done. I'm cooked, y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.